Adventure Kids, it is so great to see you this morning. Do you remember last week when we learned about the power that comes from the Holy Spirit? Well, in today's Bible story, we're going to learn about some other ways that the Holy Spirit helps us, and I think you're really going to like it.
You mean the Holy Spirit can do other things?
Oh, hey, Pascal. That's right. The Holy Spirit does more than give us power or boldness to share God's love. The Holy Spirit gives us special gifts, too.
Gifts? Like presents? I want a gift from the Holy Spirit, especially if it comes wrapped in a big box with a colorful bow on top.
Not that kind of gift, Pascal. It's called a spiritual gift. Maybe today's Bible story will help. We're going to hear about a special gift that the disciples received that allowed them to witness to others even when they didn't speak the same language.
Did the gift come wrapped in a box?
Well, let's listen to today's story and find out. On the day of Pentecost, the believers were all gathered together in one place. Do you know what Pentecost was? Pentecost was a Jewish harvest festival. At this celebration, the disciples received a wonderful surprise. Jesus had told them to wait in Jerusalem, and he would send them a gift. They were all sitting together talking when suddenly a sound came from heaven. It was the sound of a great whoosh. It was like a rushing, mighty wind blowing. It filled the whole house where they were sitting. Then they saw something that looked like tongues of fire that separated and came to rest on each one of them. Wow! Wouldn't it have been incredible to be in that room with them, to feel that wind on your face and see those tongues of fire? After the wind came through and the tongues of fire rested on them, they all started praising God in languages that they had never learned. Many godly Jews had come from every country in the world and were staying in Jerusalem to celebrate the first fruits of the grain harvest. A crowd of them gathered to check out the noise they were hearing. They were so bewildered because they each heard Jesus' followers speaking in their own language.
What's a robot's favorite snack? Computer chips. You know you like that one. Funny. How can you tell if a tree is a dogwood tree? By its bark. Ha! Hilarious. I could tell a joke about pizza, but it would be a little cheesy. That there was funny. Albert out.
They were all sitting together talking when suddenly a sound came from heaven. It was the sound of a great whoosh. It was like a rushing, mighty wind blowing. It filled the whole house where they were sitting. Then they saw something that looked like tongues of fire that separated and came to rest on each one of them. Wow! Wouldn't it have been incredible to be in that room with them, to feel that wind on your face and see those tongues of fire? After the wind came through and the tongues of fire rested on them, they all started praising God in languages that they had never learned. Many godly Jews had come from every country in the world and were staying in Jerusalem to celebrate the first fruits of the grain harvest. A crowd of them gathered to check out the noise they were hearing. They were so bewildered because they each heard Jesus' followers speaking in their own language. Do you know what bewildered means? Bewildered means deeply confused. Not only were they bewildered, they were amazed. They asked,
"Aren't all these people who are speaking from Galilee? Why then do we each hear them speaking in our own native language?"
They were all hearing them speaking about God's wonders in their own languages. How awesome is that? They asked one another,
"What does this mean?"
It meant the believers were filled with the Holy Spirit. They were speaking in other languages they had not known before. The Holy Spirit gave them the ability to do this. It was a gift from the Holy Spirit. Wasn't it astounding how the Holy Spirit announced his arrival with a rushing mighty wind and with tongues of fire? Jesus had promised the disciples that he would send them the Holy Spirit. That promise was fulfilled at Pentecost. The Holy Spirit of God was present with and upon the believers. This is also wonderful news for you and for me. Do you know why this is wonderful news for us? It's wonderful news because when we are saved, the Holy Spirit comes to live in our hearts. Lord, thank you for sending us your Holy Spirit to live in our hearts. And that's our story.
Oh, I get it. The Holy Spirit gave the disciples a spiritual gift that allowed them to speak in other languages.
That's right, Pascal. And that's just one example of the many incredible gifts that the Holy Spirit gives us. The Holy Spirit can give us other gifts like wisdom, teaching, leadership, showing mercy, and giving.
How do I know what my special gifts are?
That's a great question, Pascal. God gives each of us different gifts and abilities, and a good way to find out what those are is by serving others. Eventually, you'll figure out what you're really good at and gifted at. And if you're not sure, you can always ask a grown-up.
Can I ask God for gifts?
Of course, and you can even ask the Holy Spirit to give you gifts like wisdom and understanding. And that's our Bible point for today. Gifts come from the Holy Spirit.
Wow! What do you think my spiritual gifts are, Pastor Steve?
Well, Pascal, I think you have the gift of evangelism, which means you're great at telling others about Jesus. And you're a great helper, which means you have the gift of serving.
Even if they don't come wrapped in a present, I still think it's pretty cool that I have gifts that make me special.
That's pretty cool, isn't it, Pascal? Have an adventurous week, everyone.
Adventure Kids, this is the part of the show where you send in your questions to me, Jake, and I answer them. So let me grab my mailbag. Hi Jake, why do we meet for church on Sundays? Why not Fridays? From Ellie. That is an awesome question. There are several examples in the Bible when people would assemble or gather together to worship God, and it often said that they did this on the first day of the week. However, I don't think that the day of the week is what is important to God, but what is important is that we get together with other people who follow Jesus, so that we can care for each other and help each other grow. For us, Sundays were great for that. If the only day you were available to go to church was a Friday, and you found a church with a Friday service that helped you grow and learn more about God, I think that would make God smile too. Awesome question. Hi Jake, how many post-it notes can you stick on the wall in 10 seconds? From Riley. That is an awesome question. Let's find out. Alright, post-it notes, 10 seconds. Let's do this. Ready? Set, go. One, two, three, four, five, six. 6 post-it notes in 10 seconds. That's not very high, but let's see how well you can do. Awesome question. So remember, if you have a question for me, Jake, just go to the website takeawaywithjake.com and I'll be happy to answer your question right here on the show.